Pakistan and Iran just sent shockwaves through the global energy map with a project unlike anything their region has ever seen. They're building a joint energy corridor, an audacious 2,775-kilometer pipeline designed to pump 750 million cubic feet of gas a day from Iran's South Pars straight into Pakistan, with a price tag of $7.5 billion on the line. Iran's section is complete, but Pakistan faces a 780-kilometer race against time and the threat of $18 billion in penalties if it fails to deliver. For Pakistan, it's the only lifeline left to avoid a crippling energy shortfall by 2020. But beneath the staggering numbers, why are these two countries risking everything now? And what stands in the way of this mega project's promise? Stretching nearly 2,800 kilometers from Iran's South Pars gas field to the heart of Pakistan, this pipeline isn't just long, it's a record breaker. At 2,775 kilometers, it would run the length of the entire U.S. East Coast, from Maine to Miami, and still have miles to spare. Designed to carry 750 million cubic feet of gas every single day, the corridor could supply more than half of Pakistan's current gas demand. Enough to keep factories running, homes heated, and cities lit across a country of 240 million people. The scale of the steel alone is staggering. A 56-inch diameter pipe, wide enough for a person to stand inside, engineered to withstand earthquakes, floods, and searing desert heat. The price tag? $7.5 billion. Roughly the cost of building 2 major international airports, or enough to fund Pakistan's entire annual education budget. Iran has already finished its share, 1,100 kilometers of pipeline, laid across some of the world's most punishing terrain. Completed by 2013, on the Pakistani side, 780 kilometers remain. 665 in Balochistan's arid mountains, 115 through Sindh's flood-prone plains. That unfinished stretch is more than just a gap on the map. It's a race against time, with $18 billion in penalties looming if Pakistan fails to deliver. These numbers aren't just statistics. They are the hard, physical reality of a project that could redraw the region's energy future. Pakistan's energy system is running on empty. The country faces a looming shortfall of 10 billion cubic feet of gas per day by 2025. A gap so wide, even doubling current imports wouldn't be enough. Factories scale back production. Homes go dark during peak hours. And the government spends billions each year scrambling for expensive LNG on the spot market. For Islamabad's energy ministry, the pipeline isn't just a project, it's a lifeline. Every day of delay adds to a crisis that threatens jobs, growth, and basic stability for 240 million people. Across the border, Iran sits atop the world's second-largest natural gas reserves, locked away by sanctions that choke off most international buyers. South Pars alone holds more gas than the entire North Sea. But with Western sanctions cutting Iran out of global markets, pipes and profits stop at the border. For Tehran, exporting gas to Pakistan is about more than revenue. It's a way to break isolation, earn hard currency, and show that sanctions can't close every door. Both sides are under pressure from different directions. Pakistan risks $18 billion in penalties if it fails to build its section. Iran faces the prospect of stranded resources and wasted investment if no buyer materializes. That's why officials in both capitals keep pushing, despite the threats and obstacles. The pipeline isn't just about moving gas. It's about survival, leverage, and a shot at transforming two economies locked in a race against time. Mand-Pishin, once a sleepy border outpost, now buzzes with the sounds of open-air stalls and legal trade. 6 joint markets are planned along the frontier, but Mand-Pishin stands as the flagship. Its gates opened in 2023, bringing a new rhythm to daily life. Here, traders who once risked nighttime border runs now sell Iranian LPG canisters, fruit, and textiles in broad daylight. Families that used to pay smugglers for safe passage now apply for business licenses, tapping into microcredit schemes and formal supply chains. The Rimdan-Gabd Free Trade Zone, just a few kilometers away, is taking shape as a hub for processed goods and warehousing, aiming to draw commerce out of the shadows and into the legal economy. New infrastructure is changing the landscape. Roads connecting Mandpishin to the main highway have been resurfaced, cutting travel times for trucks hauling goods to Quetta and Karachi. Electricity flows from Iran's Poland-Gabd line, with 204 megawatts now lighting Gwadar and nearby towns. A jump made possible by Pakistan's own 29-kilometer grid upgrade. Plans for a 220 kilovolt power line promise even more reliable supply, supporting schools, clinics, and small factories that once struggled with blackouts. For local planners, the corridor is more than a pipeline. It's a chance to turn borderlands into gateways. Tariff revenue from cross-border trade, transit fees from gas flows, and new jobs in logistics and retail could bring steady income to regions long left behind. The hope is that, as markets expand and infrastructure grows, smuggling will give way to legitimate business, and border towns like Mand, Gabd, and Pishin will become magnets for investment, not headlines for unrest. But here's the hard reality. The pipeline's path runs straight into a minefield of global politics, legal threats, and violence. U.S. sanctions have turned Pakistan's 780-kilometer stretch into a diplomatic tightrope. Any bank, investor, or contractor that touches Iranian gas risks being locked out of the world's largest financial system. That is why international lenders have stayed away, and why even the initial 80-kilometer segment approved in 2024 comes with warnings from Washington. The stakes are enormous. If Pakistan fails to build its section, Iran is already pursuing up to $18 billion in penalties through international arbitration. That is more than twice what the entire project is supposed to cost. Beyond the courtroom, security forces face a different kind of threat on the ground. The pipeline route cuts through roughly 900 kilometers of Balochistan's insurgency corridor. This is not just remote terrain. It is a region where attacks on energy infrastructure happen dozens of times a year. Bombings, ambushes, and sabotage are routine, with militant groups targeting anything they see as a symbol of federal control. Protecting construction crews and future gas flows will require a military-scale security operation, driving costs even higher. Meanwhile, the border economy is still dominated by smuggling. Every day, an estimated 4,000 tons of Iranian fuel cross into Pakistan illegally. Cartels profit from the chaos, sometimes bribing officials, sometimes attacking infrastructure to keep the black market alive. Efforts to formalize trade, like the new Mandpishin market, face pushback from those who see legal commerce as a threat to their livelihoods. All of this unfolds as Islamabad debates whether to double down on natural gas, pivot to imported LNG, or leapfrog to renewables, leaving the pipeline's future hanging in the balance. Iran's engineers reached the border in 2013, welding the final joints on 1,100 kilometers of pipeline, an unbroken steel artery stretching from South Pars to the edge of Pakistan. For a decade, progress stalled on the other side. But in March 2024, Pakistan's cabinet authorized construction of the first 80-kilometer segment, finally breaking ground near Gwadar. On the power front, the Poland-Gabd line now delivers 204 megawatts of Iranian electricity into Pakistan, lighting up Gwadar's port and surrounding towns. That's more than double the supply from just a year before, thanks to Pakistan's new 29-kilometer grid extension. Each of these milestones, border welds, new grid links, and the launch of long-delayed construction, shows that, despite the odds, the corridor is moving from blueprint to reality. Economic planners in Islamabad and Tehran see a future where the corridor funds its own expansion. The idea is simple. As gas starts to flow, transit fees and energy sales generate new revenue. That money could be cycled back into upgrading roads, extending the power grid, and even launching renewable projects along the route. While no official September 2025 roadmap has been published, both governments keep referencing a self-sustaining model. one where reduced fuel imports and steady tariffs create a feedback loop of investment. But for now, the plan remains more aspiration than reality. The real test will be whether these early gains can survive the region's volatility, or if the corridor's promise will stall before the cycle begins. The Iran-Pakistan gas pipeline stretches over 2,775 kilometers, with Iran completing its 1,100-kilometer section in 2013. Pakistan, however, still faces 780 kilometers to build, 665 in Balochistan and 115 in Sindh. Delays could cost Pakistan up to $18 billion in penalties under agreements signed in 2009 and amended later. Despite U.S. sanctions and regional security risks, both countries have taken concrete steps. The operational Polan-Gabd power line now supplies 204 megawatts to Pakistan, and the Mand-Pishan joint market opened in 2023. Yet, the future remains uncertain. Pakistan's shift toward LNG and renewables, unresolved security issues along the 900-kilometer insurgency corridor, and ongoing fuel smuggling all threaten to stall progress. The full text of some recent roadmaps and commission decisions is not public as of September 2025. Still, the facts are clear. If completed, this corridor could transform regional energy flows and trade, linking the Middle East and South Asia in ways not seen before. For now, the pipeline stands as both a symbol of regional ambition and a test of political will.